Brent, there's your water. There's your lozenge. There's the Kleenex.
I'll be okay.
I know you will.
If you could please take your seats, commencement will be starting shortly. Thank you.
again, Grant. My pleasure showing up. Thanks for having me. We will follow you. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch in a week or so. Good.
The graduates are on their way. Commencement will start shortly, so please take your seats. Thank you.
Parents, family, and friends, welcome to the main event of Parents Weekend. Today's commencement speaker is Grant Lichtman. Before working in education, Grant directed business ventures in the oil and gas industry. Following that, for almost 15 years, he was a trustee and senior administrator at one of the largest independent schools in the United States. Now he is an internationally recognized thought leader on the transformation of K-12 education. He works with school teams to develop a comfort and capacity for change in a rapidly changing world. Since 2012, Grant has visited more than 125 schools and districts, published 3 books, written numerous articles, and worked with thousands of schools and community stakeholders to develop unique and powerful visions and strategies for transforming education away from the industrial age and toward future-focused models of deeper learning. We are honored to have him deliver this year's commencement address. Please welcome Grant Lichtman.
It seems like last week that I was one of the ones wearing the hat, and 2 days ago that I was one of the ones sitting there in the audience, both as a parent and as a teacher watching the graduates. You know you're getting old when they ask you to give the commencement speech rather than listen to it. Trevor, trustees, faculty, graduates, families, and friends. It's easy to give a 1-hour talk. 15 minutes is much harder, so let's cut straight to the chase, shall we? Graduates, rising generations have always been faced with decisions that will profoundly impact the world they inherit, but your generation is faced with a completely unique challenge. Yours is the first in history of humanity to encounter a world that changes faster than our ability to adapt to those changes. We don't yet know how to live effectively in this world, yet the challenge will neither go away nor decelerate. I'm an old geologist, so it is with some degree of fearful appreciation that we now see rates of both environmental and social evolution more rapid than any other in the roughly 4.5 billion years of Earth's history. So what are we, and more specifically you, going to do about it? I suggest that there are a handful of human and intellectual abilities that will dictate the success or failure of your generation and perhaps many future generations. None of them have to do with solving the quadratic formula, correctly conjugating an irregular verb, quoting Shakespeare, or balancing a chemical equation. Hopefully, along with the wealth of knowledge you have gained, some affinity for these critical abilities during your time here at Delphian. First is the ability and willingness to engage in civil discourse. Democracy is a foundational hope for human society, and the designers of the great American experiment assumed civil discourse as a way of solving problems. Our current generation of leaders, who your elders have elected, are in the process of destroying this profound foundation. Polarization of thought and the inability to compromise nurture fanaticism. The center may not hold. You must show us the way back. Second is the ability and commitment to separate fact from fiction. To me, the most profound inflection point in the history of humanity was the rise of the rule of law, which requires that we collectively hold certain things to be true, not subject to the whim of those with the most power. Recent studies out of MIT prove that falsity travels 6 times faster on Twitter than does truth. That's MIT, they know what they're doing. It is profoundly dangerous that many Americans are willing to sacrifice the truth to their own selfish points of view. Dictators do this, and we are supposed to be better. Third is respect for expertise. With the rise of social media, anyone who can gather an online following can sway public opinion. As many as 50% of Americans accept the opinions of self-proclaimed experts over those by people with a lifetime of expertise behind them. It sounds politically incorrect, but not all opinions have equal value. Give more weight to those who have earned it. Fourth is empathy. In a flatter, closer, more interrelated world, if we cannot see through the eyes and experiences of those who look and live differently than we do, our version of society is doomed to the same dustbin of history as the monarchical, communist, and fascist experiments of the last 1,000 years. And fifth is global stewardship. Humans are arguably the greatest plague, the most voracious cancer, the deadliest virus in Earth's history. In some ways, global warming, species extinction, and pervasive pollution are changing the global ecosystem faster and more dramatically than during the Cretaceous extinction event 65 million years ago. Chew on that for a moment. Environmental change is happening as rapidly today as in the years after a huge meteor crashed into the Earth with the impact of more than 1 billion Hiroshima-sized atomic bombs. Ignore this, as many of our last few generations have, and we are all in really serious trouble. Sounds like a mess, right? How are you going to solve these big, hairy problems? I have no idea. That's where the fun of living comes in. You get to actually do something important, not just for yourself, but for the world at large. Success is not guaranteed. As the Mythbusters say, failure is always an option. This is the ultimate reality experience. Dive in. The standard message of commencement speakers is that you will help solve big problems, create opportunities, and be a lot happier in your lives if you follow your passions. This is absolute truth. Life is just way too short and precious to be wasted in pursuit of fleeting rewards or stuff that doesn't turn you on. But I want to add what I believe is an important corollary to merely following your passion. It is this: dive deeply. Find the points of resonance between the world and your soul. I use that word resonance more intentionally than I can describe. Like a string or membrane that will vibrate at just the right frequency, you too can resonate when you match yourself to places, people, and events in ways that are unique and powerful to you. When you find that resonance, embrace it, explore it, push its boundaries, find its joys. My daughter, who recently retired as one of the best volleyball players in the world, knows something about what she calls mastery. It is found, she says, at the intersection of ability and something much deeper within each of us. She says she can see an athlete who has remarkable physical talent, but who is missing that deeper connection, which might make her a master. Master Yoda might say, resonance that deeper connection is. That wasn't a terrible impersonation, was it? Okay. I hope you find it at least a few times in your life. There was a long weekend years ago when I found such a point of resonance. It was not far from here, across these deeply forested hills that lie just to the west of here, along the rugged Pacific coast. I slowed down long enough to really understand that moment and place and to write it down. Because we're perched on the edge of this forest and these hills, I want to share with you just a part of what I wrote. Back behind the thumping shore, creeks curve up through broad green bottomland, dotted with butter cows and broad oaks. Farther back up to sun-dappled streams, tourist cabins, and old wooden churches set by fresh glades and open pools. Farther back yet to steep creeks, shadowed waterfalls, and tawny draws choked with blackberries, poison oak, and yellow-leafed alder, all the way back up to mist-covered slopes of hidden Tolkien forests, redwood sentinels and cathedrals standing watch over passing time. This is the heart of haunted fairyland forest, still, lonely, dark, and quiet like an old well. Dangerous West Coast potheads hide their secret farms in the red litter forest and moss-cloaked redbark. Fern trolls tread silent footpaths, and Sasquatch hides in gloomy caves, buried in deep defiles, awaiting 3-hour rations of filtered winter sun. Clouds collect in occluded treetops. Mist drips down through splayed green boughs, soaks into musky humus, seeps westward, swells the river, and flows to the north coast shore. I understood that place and moment. It had nothing to do with career, paycheck, or fame. I found a note of resonance, and it brought me both understanding and joy. Your resonance may be in science or art, in hitting a ball or raising a child. It may be in solving a big problem for many people or in helping just one other person to find their own moments of joy in a crowded, busy, often abrasive world. That's up for you to decide. As we used to say back in the hippie days of the 60s, it's your movie. Make your movie as you wish, but for the sake of our collective futures, make a good one. You would not have thrived at a school like Delphian, not that there really are any other schools like Delphian. You would not have thrived here if you were not tenacious, creative, and had the ability to structure your own path. Too many of our brightest, self-starting young people think that the path to happiness lies in creating the next meaningless phone app and selling it for millions of dollars. That kind of success is shallow and fleeting. Do you really want your epitaph to be, "She wrote the code for a silly game upon which millions wasted their valuable time"? We need our best and brightest young people to take on the toughest challenges that will have real impact on a world short of solutions. Malala is the young Pakistani activist who won the Nobel Peace Prize. We need more Malalas and fewer angry birds. We need more young people registering voters and far fewer designing the next best-selling slasher video game. So with the benefit of having become a Delphian, of participating in a community that values ethics, integrity, leadership, and knowledge, I urge you to find the right problems to solve, not the niggling annoyances of everyday life, but the big, hairy challenges that beg for big, audacious solutions. You will succeed at overcoming some, and you will utterly fail at others. Relish both equally. If you know what resonates deeply with you, you will overcome the failures and find your way back. If you can find the resonant frequency of understanding and joy, and if you can make the world better for even a few others, even a few times, then you will have lived well. Congratulations, graduates and families, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Grant. We have 24 bright and shiny young adults to launch. Our goal today is to acknowledge what they've accomplished as a beginning, not as an end. We expect them all to go on to do big things. The diploma states that each graduate has successfully completed a course of study prescribed for graduation from the high school, having demonstrated the ability to apply the knowledge thereof, and is therefore awarded this diploma on May 27th, 2018. And now I'd like to introduce our graduates. Our first graduate is sure to be one to watch. Whether in service activities or academic work, she never let barriers stand in her way. Headed to Pace University in New York, Ashton Olmsted.
Thank you. As the first graduate today, I speak for the whole senior class and acknowledging some key people. So on behalf of all of us, we want to thank the staff and faculty from the bottom of our hearts for all they have done and continue to do to make this such a special place. We want to publicly thank our parents and families who have supported each of us in ways far beyond count. We owe immense thanks to Mr. Hubbard, whose study tools and educational philosophy have empowered us to be lifelong learners. We want to thank Mr. Lichtman for his words of advice. They were very moving and impactful. And lastly, we want to sincerely thank each of you for spending this special day with us. As for me, Delphi is a place that completely changed me. Before I came here, my entire life was in havoc. I had no sense of personal ethics, and I had no self-confidence. and I really didn't like who I was. I had been in and out of many schools, leaving a lot of gaps in my education. I felt stupid and like I couldn't learn. I knew I needed to get out of the environment that I was in, and I knew some people that have attended Delphian, and they had nothing but good things to say about it. So one day I just Googled the Delphian school, and I found the phone number and I called. I was 15. I told the person on the other end of the phone that I wanted to enroll and that I would be flying in the next day. Somehow the next day I actually did fly in, and I did enroll. That was a crazy day, but it was the best decision and one of the best days of my life. The Delphian program challenged me in ways I never imagined possible, taking me from the girl who had no self-worth and no sense of ethics and into a person that I'm proud to be. It really is magical. Moving through the practical program and in current events and Headmaster T, I became increasingly aware of my environment and surroundings, and also major issues and tragic situations going on around me. I realized that something can be done about these horrific situations going on in the world, and I especially found this out while doing various volunteer projects. I found out what really makes me happy is helping people, and this whole experience has given me confidence. I feel intelligent, capable, and able to reach towards my goals in life. And that is an amazing and empowering feeling. A long way from the girl who picked up the phone and called one day. I'll conclude my speech with a quote from my favorite Coco Chanel ad. A rebel at heart, passionate and self-ruling. She freed herself to become the woman she wanted to be. Thank you.
An intelligent, creative, and talented artist, our first graduate from Kazakhstan, heads directly into his career field of film and music. We expect great things. This diploma goes to Artie Stepanov.
When I was 6 years old, I started playing the violin. It was so extraordinary. Its shape, its sound, everything about it. For 4 years, I enjoyed practicing every day. Then one day I stopped, no longer willing to practice. Instead, I started watching more TV and YouTube and playing video games. Soon I'd lost interest in school, in helping those around me. And the violin was just a piece of wood with strings. Years later, I arrived here. At first, I was shocked at the loss of my free time. A few months later, I started making a game of doing my student services job of sweeping and mopping the floor, mopping the gym floor, and putting away the weights. I noticed that the better I did, the happier the student that checked it was. I started cleaning better and better, and soon I was the one checking the jobs. That was extraordinary for me. I found other games to play, like being on time to every class, getting my courses done on time, then writing music, taking photos and making videos. Fast forward to earlier this year, when I heard Elon Musk saying that he worked 100 hours a week sometimes. I couldn't believe a person could do that. When I got in Form 8, I set myself a super challenging schedule and followed it. Even though I didn't quite make 100 hours a week, I worked extremely hard, made great progress, and loved it. And within the blink of an eye, I realized how much I've changed. I now see life about being here and now, about playing the right games. And once again, I see that piece of wood with strings on it as an instrument with a shape and sound so extraordinary that with it, one can create magic. Thank you.
We've often been inspired by the thoughtful insights of this next graduate. A top student here, we are certain he will continue to excel as he moves on to Oxford at Emory this fall. Bryant Zhang.
Thank you. I always wanted to be the top, so I worked very hard and tried to get more attention. I used to believe that a school only focuses on its top students, but Delphi changed my idea. It loves every student, and the students truly care about each other. My aims and attitudes have been adjusted throughout the program, especially at the moment I finished. Delphi provides me opportunities to fail, to learn about myself, and to restart. Now, I'm able to evaluate the world in a well-rounded way, to confront everything in my life calmly, and to keep my integrity in, so that I can have the courage to stand for what I believe in, and to work to change things that I know must be changed. Life is not about success and honor. Nobody can define the value of your life. I learned to love all the people, to love gain and loss, and to love myself. Being excellent is not a target. It should be a habit. Working hard is the same. Sometimes we can do nothing with our lives, but in most cases, we are able to do much more than we believe. Thank you.
Whether singing in the choir or working on student council, this next graduate could always be counted on to bring a smile and a helping hand to others. We know wherever she goes, she will succeed. Isabella Quintero.
Thank you. For many years, I never thought I was good enough. People told me I could accomplish something, but I didn't believe them. I thought I wasn't capable enough to achieve my own goals. As I went through the program, I realized I had been stopping myself from reaching my true potential. I realized I had been given the tools to be a true leader and have true integrity, and I used those tools to become a leader and help others. I saw I had the ability to accomplish what I want, and I began to accomplish those goals. On the final course of the program, Thinking with the Classical Religions, you read the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull. There's a quote from that book that spoke with me. You have the freedom to be yourself, your true self, here and now, and nothing can stand in your way. Delphi gave me the freedom to truly be myself, to fly at speeds that no one thought possible, and to soar to places I dreamed of. I will be forever grateful. Thank you.
This thoughtful and caring poet and musician has a career planned in the field of the humanities, where we know she will do well too. This diploma goes to Yasmin Kadada.
Thank you. I want to read you all a poem that I wrote about Delphi. It's called The Miracle Forest. There was once a little girl, her head covered in many curls. Unsure of where she was headed, school was the main thing she dreaded. Looking for an answer, she finally found her anchor: knowledge, leadership, ethics, and integrity. In that moment, she knew she was ready. Arriving to the forest was an experience unexplainable. Everything she's always wanted finally became attainable. In the forest, there is so much you can do. As the seasons change, so do you. First came fall, where she first began to crawl. Fixing things that went astray, she knew she found the way. Next is winter. She still felt like a beginner. Things became challenging, but she found the forest as dazzling. Then came spring. Everything around her started to sing. Tasks became easier, and the views became dreamier. In the summer, she found that there were so many new things to discover. Taking in the last days and sunsets, finally realizing how easier it gets. Late night and early morning fog, a closing to a beautiful monologue. Her hard work and focus didn't go unnoticed. As the fog cleared and the light began to roam, she finally knew she found her forever home. Thank you.
This next graduate's academic depth and understanding of human nature made him a standout in poetry seminar. He will be attending Penn State this fall to study chemical engineering. This diploma is for Ryan Wu.
Thank you. Throughout my time at Delphi, I grew as a person. I became an individual that's competent in his environment, an individual that has the ability to lead a group, an individual that has the 4 points of logo: knowledge, ethics, leadership, integrity. The education I receive here is unmatchable. The importance of study for application truly prepares us for the challenges that lie ahead of us. We, as Delphian graduates, are the future leaders, engineers, business executives, and many more. It's up to us to change tomorrow's world. It's up to us to use our ability to the greatest potential. I am confident that all 24 of us, young men and adults, young men and women in front of you, are going to strive for their respective fields. Today marks the end of a great story, yet the beginning of an extraordinary sequel. The story ahead of us is blank, and we are the writers. With the tools we attain from Delphi, the plot of the book is up to us to create. I believe that it will be extraordinary and unique because of what Delphi have given us. Thank you.
This gifted athlete worked hard to develop, in his final year, a genuine passion for academic pursuits, and he succeeded. Determined to pursue soccer as a career, he is weighing his options between several colleges, where he plans to run track as well. Colin Koenig.
Thank you. Before I came to Delphi, I did not want to leave home. I was a big mother's boy. I always wanted to stay home and take the easy way out. My brother, who was going to school here at the time, was the one who convinced me to come for a trial week. So I went up and joined him. By the end of the trip, I had called my mom, who was in Germany at the time, and told her I didn't want to leave and try to find a way to stay here. I realized that this was this place where I can work on myself and really expand myself and who I was. The following year, I enrolled in the school and flew up with my brother. My first year here, I was very good at getting out of things. I always found ways to skip class time and became very good at it. Going through the program, I got more and more tools and expanded myself and my education, and I learned how not to get into trouble too much. There was a moment on the program where I made the decision to really focus on the study and the program itself and put all of my effort into that program. I expanded my abilities immensely and truly saw how capable I can be. I stopped second-guessing every single action I made and really grew confidence in myself and who I was. I'm now happy to say that I'm a Delphian graduate. Thank you.
A quiet determination and discipline inspires our confidence in this next graduate's ability to succeed as she pursues her interest in fashion in Milan. This diploma goes to Agatha Sanchez.
Thank you. There are times in your life when you know you've hit a milestone and you're not the same afterwards. That was Delphi for me, over and over. In my 5 years here, I went from milestone to milestone, slowly changing and morphing into who I am today. An individual with tremendous capabilities and an insatiable hunger for knowledge. This year, I hit the biggest milestone of my life. I was able to stop thinking that I can't do things or that I'm not able, to get rid of all my self-imposed barriers, and just get something done. I worked harder than I had ever worked before, and I loved every minute of it. I am the product I always envisioned, and the person I always dreamed to be, but never thought I could. Thank you.
Eight years ago, this student arrived with a bang, and she hasn't looked back since. Whether it was volleyball, cheer, or student council, she made her mark. She heads off to Paul St. John Neuromuscular School in Florida to prepare for a career in physical therapy. Eva Druskowski.
Thank you. I would like to share with you a poem I wrote called The End of a Journey. It's dedicated to my fellow graduates here. It's time for us to end our journey that has just begun. Footsteps to the final stage, moving together as one. Arriving to the end, just as they had come, 24 green curtains swaying together as one. Tassels swaying to the beat, and hearts beating faster as they arrive to their seat. Together, we have traveled to Italy, White Russia, and the caves of Greece. We flew to new worlds for the sake of outreach. We thought we were done and realized we wanted more. But before we knew it, our time here was overspent. Now, we are here with you all in this big white tent. Our lives will go on, but these days won't be lost. We will always have each other, no matter the distance or the cost. Good luck, best wishes, and my sincerest adieu. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you.
This next graduate found many subjects to explore deeply here, excelling broadly, but most particularly in literature and writing, including heading up the Student Writers Club the last 2 years. Reed College in Portland will be lucky to have her next year. Allison Wallace.
This school nourished a love of connections in me, the love of inner lightning that flashes invisibly, imperceptibly, when a person puts two thoughts together for the first time and they can feel it. There are many words for this moment. Aha, eureka, dude. It's the language of learning. The most fun anyone can have while studying and learning is finding a gem of knowledge you didn't even know you were looking for. The founders and staff at this school have focused all their energy to give this opportunity to every student on every course, book, seminar, project, so they can realize exactly where they are in the world. I was asked to sing an opera song for Winter Showcase this year, and I chose one that I was a little familiar with beforehand. However, I didn't know the story behind it. In looking up the lyrics, I found it. It was written in 1917, but was based on a side character in Dante's Inferno, an epic poem I've been reading off and on. Its connection to the epic poem written in the 14th century was thrilling to find. I told the story of the one-act opera to anyone who listened. I reveled in my path of discovery. I also enjoyed sharing it with others along the way. Lastly, my connections to my friends have helped me through these 4 years immensely. I feel privileged to have shared this in this education, in this journey with them. Thank you.
As evidenced in her art and design, this unassuming young woman is full of color and creativity. She'll take these creative energies to Milan, where she will join her classmate Agatha in studying fashion. This diploma goes to Arrow Chang.
Thank you. Once she was a 15-year-old girl who had never come to the United States and had no dreams about her future. She was afraid of talking to people, and she didn't know how she could overcome the fear that was in her way. There were many times that she wanted to give up because the challenge was too hard for her, but the faculty kept encouraging her. Now she is proudly standing at the podium to deliver her graduation speech to you all. Although the path to her success cost her tears and long nights without sleep, she was still able to achieve it by never giving up. Many would have said that was impossible, but she was able to make it happen with strong intention. At the end, she saw everyone who had been supporting her on the way standing at the finishing line. Thank you.
Some people have such determination that they never give up, regardless of what obstacles are put in their way. Our next graduate is one of those people. Taking a gap year to gain more experience as an apprentice in costume design and fashion styling, Kat Valise.
Thank you. At the beginning of my Delphian journey, I encountered many challenges and fears and backed away from them, thinking I couldn't overcome them. I felt like a falling leaf that was blown. It continues to turn around and wavers through the air until it eventually tumbles to the ground. As I progressed through the program, I realized there was nothing wrong with my capabilities. Where I once viewed every challenge and fear as an enemy, I began to view them as friends, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to discover my true capabilities. I found that I could be a leader, that I could tell right from wrong and operate for the greatest good, that I have the tools to make things go right, to handle situations, to find solutions to problems in my environment and succeed. I'm excited to face the challenges that arise in this new chapter of my life. Thanks to Delphi and the tools and skills I have gained here, I am more than happy to face what's to come, confident in my abilities and proud of who I've become. Thank you.
Whether it's choir, tennis, or academics, this young man tackles life with a zest and a great big smile. He enrolls in Oxford at Emory in the fall, where he already has a spot on their NCAA men's tennis team. This diploma is for Kevin Yang.
Thank you. So, what is the Delphi journey? It's a journey like no other. It's not a time to rest and chill. It's a process of discovery. It's a process of self-discovery. It shows us not only the world, but how we fit in it. In the end, one is left to ponder. Does the person create this journey, or the journey create the person? Before coming here, I was lost and pessimistic about my life. When I stood in the darkness alone, looking at the sky, I saw the darkness, the emptiness, the loneliness. I was overwhelmed with books, lectures, and the pressure to get good grades. There had to be something better. I know. I deserve better. Tennis gave me a hint of hope, but then they said I was not tall enough to play for professional. Yeah, seriously.
So what was I supposed to do? I asked myself. I was depressed and desperate. But then something happened. I looked up at the skies one more time, and this time stars shining. They are very tiny, but very strong. I had found Delphi. I soon learned that when we look at the sky, it's the hope that we are looking for, not the despair. It's the stars we are looking for, not the darkness. Delphi didn't give me what I needed, it gave me more. It's not only about knowledge, but about what you believe and what you should pursue. It's about being able to confront your worst fear. It's about challenging yourself a little bit more when you're too tired to stand up. It's about providing encouragement when you fall. It's about alerting you when you're lost. It's about waking you up before it's too late. Darkness may leave, but the stars do not. Delphi is the most shining star in my life, shines forever, like a torch that never goes out, leading me to a better life. So does the person create this journey, or the journey create the person? Thank you very much. Airline pilot, athlete, student body leader, instructor, actor, equally thinker and doer. This student's passion for learning saw him tackling more elective courses than any student before him. Graduating with honors and attending Stanford in the fall, Finn Dayton.
Thank you. From an early time in school, I chugged along day to day on work, but I'd always be working towards something. Normally it was spring or summer vacation, or maybe it was the weekend, or the end of the day, or class muster. It was a respite, something to be reached after the work. Sure, I enjoyed some of the exertion, but the effort was always directed to some other time and place, and the work was just a barrier to getting there. This soccer season, however, our coach read a quote from Mr. Hubbard that went, in part, "The only reward there is for effort is the enjoyment of exerting the effort." Though he was just trying to get us to stop overstressing winning, I thought that this idea was insane and that it suggested not working towards goals. Then, for the last 3 weeks of school, I got the opportunity to work in a garden on campus improving the area. And I found a certain satisfaction, something distinctly human, about working under the sun and the earth, absorbed in a task at hand. And I wasn't just trying to pass my project or hoping for summer or to graduate. I just wanted to garden. It got me thinking back to the quote and my experiences here. I had joined track for the first time this year. In the beginning, I was focused solely on cutting my times. But what I will take away from the season is the running, in painful and rewarding moments of all-out effort in practice and at meets. What drove me on many courses this year was simply a joy of problem solving and learning. Even my rewards in this play were largely from the enjoyment I had in playing the character. Now I understand what my coach is trying to say. It's not about disregarding long-term consequences. No, you can have huge goals for groups and mankind. This is common to most successful people. But now I'll never lose sight of the simple pleasure of work. Thank you, Delphi.
This next graduate has been with us since middle school, gradually developing a strong academic integrity and work ethic that blossomed this last year. After a gap year, he hopes to pursue a career in sports management. This diploma is for Timson Lee.
I came here 8 years ago hoping to escape the homework and responsibilities back in Taiwan. The education pressure was just too much for me. Now, looking back at my old self, I can hardly recognize me. I can also laugh at myself thinking he was under too much pressure at age 10. The stress I endured during my journey here, especially on Forms 7 and 8, was 100, perhaps more, times tougher than I endured in Taiwan. But I learned that I love to work hard, to study, and to learn. I also learned from 6 months as being a middle school boys dorm captain and other projects that I could become a leader. On my Form 7 program, I experienced what it felt like to fail. I fell behind on my coursework, and I failed more than a few projects. But that created opportunities for me to learn about hard work and persistence. In the 2006 film Rocky Balboa, Rocky says, "It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." It might sound counterintuitive, but I'm glad I had these opportunities to fail. I've learned how to treat every failure as a component to success. I've been here practically my whole life. It'll be very, very hard to say goodbye. But I'm excited about creating a future I can be proud of. But for now, I'm proud to say that I'm a Delphian graduate. Thank you.
Also with us since middle school, this graduate first learned English, then began working on how to channel her dynamic spirit into school activities, like projects, volleyball, and student council. Accepted by multiple colleges, she has decided to take a gap year to somewhat ironically catch up on her Spanish in preparation for university studies in Mexico. This diploma is for Fernanda Carriaga.
I know I'm supposed to stand here and give you some insight into the school, the program, and my experiences. In a few years, I'll be able to do that clearly. For now, I'll do my best. Coming to Delphi was a big change for me. Education became about me instead of about my teachers. Education was about knowing the data and being able to apply what I learned in other areas of my life. I learned English, I learned how to study, I made new friends, but still, after several years at Delphi, I was not a confident person. I was scared of rejection. I was scared to join clubs, try new sports, and do new things. But over the last couple years, particularly this year, that really changed. Now, I feel that I'm a confident and capable individual. I am able to use integrity, responsibility, ethics, and knowledge to handle situations with myself and others. I feel ready for my future. I would like to end off with a quote from Tom Brokaw, and I would like to dedicate this quote to my senior class. You're educated. Your certification is in your degree. You may think of it as a ticket to the good life. Let me ask you to think of it as an alternative. Think of it as your ticket to change the world. Thank you.
This insightful and passionate young woman has never fooled us with her soft voice and quiet manner. She's a powerhouse, and we know it. Headed to the University of California at Davis with dreams of becoming a teacher, we know at least one school that would love to have her someday. Jessica Shu.
Thank you. I feel so much love on this beautiful program, where we all changed, we grew up, we learned so much about ourselves. Everything is special at Delphi. The educational system not only helps us to find out what we really want, but also makes us self-disciplined. I learn more than just knowledge. I gain a new ability, self-education. I learned how to learn something new by myself. In addition to the academics, the practical program was the most challenging. At first, in projects or student services, I was just a worker. But gradually, I took more responsibility and was put in charge of running different crews or activities. And I found I had become a leader. The student body and staff members are always friendly. I experienced so many positive things that changed me from an active person to a confident person. I joined many new groups, the basketball team, jazz choir, varsity choir, and more. I made more friends, and I became more extroverted. This is one of my biggest wins. 4 years ago, when I first saw a 4-May graduate speech, I didn't get why she was crying. I doubted if I would love this school that much when I graduated. Now, I stand in her place. There is so much love I have for this school. I grew up a lot, and I know everything was worth it. 4 years ago, I was a little shy girl. Now I am walking out of this school as a young lady. I will miss my high school life. I will miss the stars, the moonlight, and the girl in your eyes. Thank you, Delphi.
We will miss the enthusiasm and sparkling eyes of this graduate, who made her mark with a long run as student council president. She moves on with plans to expand her humanitarian activities, where she can continue to exercise a selfless interest in helping others. This diploma goes to Lexi Delgado.
Thank you. I look back at who I was when I first got here, and I think of the ups and downs and all the growth we had as we all changed into the people we had always wanted to become. Standing here, it's easy now to look back and see how important and beautifully crafted all aspects of the Delphian program are, and how they all helped me. The most important qualities I gained were loving, caring, and helping. I learned this through the time spent on my student council work, projects, and much more. This is something that is now part of my basic nature. What I realized most profoundly at Delphi is that my basic purpose is to help. I love to help people. I love to love and care for them, and knowing that I can truly and lovingly help someone is the reason I live. Thank you.
This student has rebounded from many challenges to become the intelligent and confident individual she is today. She plans a career in architecture and was accepted to the Otis School of Art and Design in Los Angeles. Maggie Liao.
My journey here has been a long one. Now that I've reached my final destination, I look back and see how much I've grown. I've learned to become a powerful, independent individual, capable of tackling the challenges that are put in front of me. I came here fearing that I would not fit in, or not be as good or as smart as the other students. I've learned to become a better version of myself, rather than trying to be better than others. I stand alongside the people who give me the courage to pursue my goals. It took me a lot of tears, hard work, and determination to become the person I am here today. I'm very grateful for all Delphi had to offer, the tools, the opportunity, the love, and the support. Now I'm ready for the next chapter of my life, and I will never stop working on the ever better version of myself I know I can continue to create. Thank you.
A talented artist, musician, and actor, this next graduate will pursue his further studies at the FZD School of Design in Singapore. This diploma goes to Jonathan Wong.
I often wonder what my life would be like if I hadn't come to Delphi. I would probably be back home, going to school every day, living an uneventful, boring life. I would probably be sitting at the back of the class with a hand on my face, looking out the window, because I had no interest in the subject at all. I didn't know who I was or who I wanted to become. The world seemed like it was painted in black and gray. Coming to Delphi, I was able to learn about myself. I learned about my interests. I started to set some goals. I learned about hard work. I learned about the importance of doing things with a purpose. Through the projects, the activities, and the academic program, so much changed. As an example of the changes I went through, I now want to become a designer. Before coming here, I didn't have any confidence as an artist, and I was so lost. The idea that I might become a designer would have never occurred to me. The Delphian program forced me out of my comfort zone. As I took on more and more, I started to find the colors in my life one by one, colors I have never imagined I will be able to find in myself. I'm excited to explore the now vibrant world that Delphi has helped me to discover. Thank you.
Intellectually gifted, the work of this next graduate in the areas of coding and robotics, among others, was truly outstanding. After helping our publisher Heron Books with a major database project this summer, he heads off to Texas A&M. Mac Fellmeyer.
Throughout my life, I've had difficulty communicating with others. Talking with groups, asking for help, expressing myself through art, and public speaking were challenges for me. This seemed to create a ceiling over what I could accomplish and where I could go in life. Although I worked on this as I went through the Delphi program, I believed that I simply was bad at communicating, and that was the way that I would be for the rest of my life. Towards the end of the program, I had a series of realizations that helped me overcome this. I found that I had been unwilling to confront people and situations that involved communication. Once I could do that, I could then tackle communicating to them easily. As soon as I became truly willing to confront, I was able to improve in the area. Although I felt uncomfortable and awkward at first, I forced myself to keep communicating. After some time, I realized that it was no longer a weak area, and that smooth and easy communication wasn't an inconceivable struggle for me. Thank you, Delphi, for challenging me and helping me grow. I'm proud of who I've become. Thank you.
A star on the soccer field and on the track, and a bright, penetrating student as well. Our next graduate aspires, after a gap year, to a college and career path in business and sports management. We expect great things. Jameel Morales.
Thank you. Each of us has a responsibility on this planet. All of us can contribute to make this a better place. I only realized this when I was at Delphi, and I found a genuine passion in the staff. They envision not only that education can be better, but that the world can be a better place too. Every May, they witness their hard work bear fruit. And year after year, they stay on this hill in Sheridan, Oregon, to continue their undertaking. I wonder why after dedication, sweat and sacrifice, I have to say goodbye to so many students. They still pursue their task without losing enthusiasm. Because it is their mission. They endeavor to power young adults to bring positive change in the world through reason, creativity, and integrity. They share the idea of contributing to help people, and in fact, to change lives for the better. Their enthusiasm is what helps students become better human beings, and they have certainly helped me. It is this mission I will never forget, for without it, I wouldn't have had integrity, knowledge, and preparation I now have. Delphi means a lot to me. The home environment, the wins, the losses, the people, whether in soccer, in track, or in class, we're all part of the process. So from the very bottom of my heart to the faculty, I thank you all. Thank you.
Full of joy, interest, and a unique, larger-than-life warmth of spirit, our next graduate explored his love of all kinds of subjects while here. He heads off to Hubbard College in Los Angeles this fall. This diploma goes to Joe Paul.
Thank you. I went to 3 different schools before I came to this school. In the first 2, I caused a lot of trouble and I didn't really care about academics. My 3rd school was a school that was full of crime and full of drugs. The teachers didn't care about us. I quickly got mixed in with the wrong friends, and that's when everything went downhill for me. These people were ruthless. They didn't care about laws, rights, or wrongs. Every night when I had made bad decisions that I wasn't proud of, I wished to myself that magically an angel would appear and help me out of those situations. One summer, I was spending some time with Colin over at his house, and his mother wanted to talk to me. I thought, I am in trouble. Little did I know that she wanted to show me a video that would change my life. That video was Through Their Eyes from Delphian School. At that time, my English was terrible, so I didn't understand much what was said in this video. But what I saw was very magical, and I understood the concept, and I was very inspired by it. She told me that there was an opportunity for me to go to this amazing school if I wanted to. I slept the night and I thought, Joe, this is the angel that you've been waiting for. Either take it or leave it. And without further ado, I talked to my parents and made it happen. I am now somebody who has an ethics code. I can lead a group towards something better rather than crime. I have integrity rather than doing wrong things that my friends thought were cool. I have knowledge that I can apply to learn what I want to learn, to help others, and to make this world a better place. The Delphian School is my guardian angel, the one who saved my life, who kept saving my life, and now has provided me with tools to keep saving my own life. I feel endless gratitude towards this school, and I'll forever call this place my home. Thank you.
This next graduate, with his energy and verve for life, will be universally missed. After 7 years of adventure and misadventure, he discovered in himself an integrity, courage, leadership, and honor all his own. Attending UCLA this fall, our final diploma today goes to Yahya Abulahum.
When I began here, I was like a small boy trying to find his way to the river on the other side of the meadow. But the grass was so tall, it was over my head, and it seemed endless. As I grew, I saw there were paths in the meadow that I could choose to take. I stuck to the ones I was comfortable with and the ones I thought would impress other people. One bad turn led to the next, and although I was moving forward, I wasn't really reaching anything. About halfway through this year, I remembered being a curious boy at some point in my life, who was filled with hundreds of questions and excitement, and somewhere that was lost. I decided to change this and start making my own path. I made a long list of goals I wanted to achieve, and by the end of the year, I would ask myself if I had reached them. This was the first question. Soon, one question led to another. For example, I asked, was I a good actor? Well, I'll do the Parents' Weekend play and find out. Do I like running the 3,000 meters? I tried it and found out I absolutely did not. In the end, I didn't reach every goal I wanted to, but I had the most productive, painful, and joyful year of my life by tenfold. Michelangelo once said, "The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aims too high and falling short, but in setting our aims too low and achieving our mark." Delphi has given me the sharpest tools and high aim to cut through this meadow, and I am forever grateful. As your final graduate today, on behalf of us, I would like to thank you all again for being here on this special day. Many of you have traveled long and far, and we appreciate the love and support you give us. Thank you.
The Delphian school bells are rung only once a year. That moment has come. Parents, families, and guests, are you ready to send forth these graduates? Yes. Okay, graduates, please stand. Signify your willingness to take on the responsibilities of this world by moving your tassels from right to left. I present to you the graduating class of 2018.